Hi, everyone. Shauna Robinson, Wellness A to Z. And here is another episode of Microdose Your Wellness. And I am so excited to introduce my next guest, Charles Chen, who is a wellness entrepreneur, the creator of Zeal.co. He is a chef, and he himself had a journey where that led him to this occupation. It wasn't always this way. So I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that, what you're doing to stay sane, and then, some things that you want to impart on the viewers. So without further ado, thank you so much for being here today, Charles. I always love talking to you. You always have a smile on your face. And that to me is just so infectious. And it's so
Oh,
fun to talk to you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your warm smile. And
yeah.
yeah, so how did you get started on this whole wellness journey?
Oh my gosh, totally on accident. I mean, like these times actually brought me back. There's a lot of time to reflect during this time. So it brought me back to doing your best, right? I think so. I struggled with my weight. At the age of 15, was 260 pounds, pre-diabetes. Um, my family has diabetes in the family, and I was eating junk food every single day. High C, like the orange soda High C, that was
I
my
remember.
jam.
Yeah.
I don't even want to look at how much sugar is in there now, but that was how I was getting energy. I would drink like the largest cup you can find. And at the time, McDonald's used to do buckets of fries.
Oh,
And
I remember. Yeah.
oh yeah, my after school program was right next to McDonald's. So we would just all go there. And I remember the soggy fries at the very bottom that was like the oiliest. It was so good. All the different sauces. I mean, I was addicted to junk food. Coming from Taiwan, I was raised in Taiwan. So I was like a skinny little kid when I first got to America and just got addicted to this Americanized,
Oh,
standardized
standard
diet.
American diet.
Yeah.
Sad. I mean, the acronym is SAD, and it is a very sad diet.
Yeah, I remember my mom was a working single mother and she didn't have time. So she would just always buy takeout. And I just ate my feelings. And I think, we numb ourselves with different modalities. I use food to numb my feelings of not, dealing with how to fit in this new world, of finding my identity as an Asian American, as a gay kid, and then there's all these like different struggles of like my relationship with my father. So a lot of things I was just coping with, and I used food to numb myself. And I almost felt like subconsciously, and this gets deeper, I use food to numb myself so that nobody looked at me as like a sexual object. If I was that fat kid, nobody would ever be like, why isn't he dating girls? Because that was like when I was going through the time
Yeah.
of middle school, transitioning into like lots of bullying. And I was like, you know what? If I eat, nobody would question me. And I think subconsciously it was like a defense mechanism. And I was like, I'll just, blur out in the background and disappear.
Yeah. And I don't think you're alone in that. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think a lot of people, it's like, I want to be invisible. I want to hide behind, whether it's food and nobody look at me, or, some sort of self-sabotage in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. And it's so subconscious we do it. I did a lot of the same things with food, maybe not, doing as well in school as I could have. I didn't apply myself because I didn't want to be seen as that smart, nerdy girl.
Yeah, like, and I
Now
think
I don't
as
care.
we get older, we own it, right? We're like, why are we trying to dim our light? Because
Totally.
it's not like we're going out of our way, but it's like there's like this light within you. You're here to share certain gifts, and you might be more talented and gifted at certain things, and we try to like dumb ourselves down so we make other people feel comfortable. And I think as we evolve, is kind of like stepping into our own and owning that part of ourselves. Like, you know what? Fuck that. Who cares what other people think? And if you make people feel inferior, that's totally their own projections.
Yeah, it is. It's about them. And, we have to stop working our shit out on other people, as Brene Brown so eloquently says. I mean, and I think that that's what we do. It's like, okay, I want to make them comfortable while we're sacrificing ourselves. And we just walk around and we feel shitty, and we don't, we're not in alignment with ourselves. And it's so true. So, you come to America, you're eating the standard American diet, you're, self-sabotaging, you're, hiding yourself. And then what was that sort of aha moment where you were like, I call them the head out of ass moments, where you're like, holy shit, I'm dimming my light, I'm eating like shit, I feel like shit, I need to make a change. Like, what happened?
Well, it sounds so cheesy, but I literally every day after school, I would get on my couch and just like all the junk food in the world, like chips, fast food, chocolates. They had those little like gold chocolates and covered, and I would just like eat until I was sick to my stomach and I couldn't eat anymore. And I was just watching television. And good thing at the time, I was watching a lot of Oprah. Like I was raised after school on Oprah,
Yeah.
and I would also watch Emeril Lagasse on Food Network. And he had that show where he was cooking with the audience, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I mean, he was cooking some hearty stuff, but it really inspired me because he made it so kind of like effortless and easy and less kind of like so hard, because there's like this friction of like, oh, cooking and making food is like this very hard task that only like these high chefs can do. And I was like, you know what, I think I can cook. Maybe I should start cooking so I don't feel like shit. Maybe I should like go to the farmer's market, because at that point my friends were outside playing and I couldn't even breathe. I had like asthma attacks, and I would wake up in the middle of the night just not being able to breathe and having panic attacks and just living my life in fear. And I was like, you know what? There was like a little voice within me. It was like, if you change your life, like you can change and help other people, right? So I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. And bring back what I thought of, like how it reminded me of this time was like, I felt stuck, like, and then like I had to take little baby steps, just like I'm like adjusting to these quarantine times of like, okay, like working out, I can't go to the gym, I can't do these things. What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And going out for a walk, even if it's not a run. I'm not a runner, but I'm like,
No,
you know what?
and when chased, that's I don't run either. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? Just go for a walk, go for a 1 mile walk, 2 miles, and then like baby steps. And that was literally how, and I'm basically going back into these times. And it's funny because I'm writing my book right now. So it's like writing my book, and then I'm like going through the process. I'm almost like feeling like that fat kid again. Like, okay, things are out of your control. What can you do? Like, what baby step can you take today? And I write in my journal of, what would make today great? And my thing is perfect effort. Just try, like stop trying to be perfect, but just give it your all. At least you gave it your all. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go jump rope today. Maybe I'll take a yoga class. Do your best. And I think in these times, be gentle with yourself, because it's so easy to be like, oh, I can't fit in those pants. And you just like start shaming yourself, like
Yeah.
I've had those moments of like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, right before we started filming, we were talking about like maybe we should buy some jeans, kind of as that like measure of like, all right,
Yeah.
keep it together. And I love what you said. I mean, it is about taking that messy action, and it's like, the only sort of failure, if you want to use that word, is not taking any action at all. It's like, it doesn't, who cares? You have this, we all have this vision of perfect, and that's self-sabotage, right? Like that perfectionist tendency. When we get hung up on that, it's like, okay, cool. So like, I'm not, at this, what my ideal is, but okay. So no, but the only person that's measuring that is you, that's
Yeah.
intrinsic. So like, get the fuck over it. And like, yeah, go out for a walk. Working out, exercise looks totally different than it did 6 weeks ago, when, I would gladly go stand in a hot room and do, 90 minutes of Bikram yoga every day if I could. I'm itching to get back and do that, but I know that that's not the reality. So, it's just, all right, I need to move. I need to, get that vitamin D. I need to do some stuff and get out. And it's
Yeah.
not perfect, and it's not what I would normally like to do, but
Yeah.
we're in a different time. And, this year is about resilience. I was just talking to somebody about, in Chinese medicine, it's the year of the metal rat. And so metal is all about grief and resilience and all of this other stuff. And it's just so interesting that is, that's the year. And like, look at what we're going through. We are building resilience. We are building sort of just different capabilities
Yeah.
this time. And I think it's so interesting that what's showing up for you is that time when you were sitting on the couch. And so many of us are sitting on the couch,
Yeah.
binge watching Tiger King, binge
Yeah.
watching things, and just kind of like using this as license to eat shitty food. I think that it's fine to do every once in a while. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've kind of indulged myself, but it's also like, all right, like we have this gift of downtime and sort of like an opening, a clearing and
Yeah.
scarcity. So like, how do I want to fill that time is how I'm looking at it too. So I love that you're like
Absolutely.
working on things and working on your book. I didn't
Yeah.
talk so much. This is about you, but
Yeah.
um, so you became a chef, you have this wellness company, how did Zeal start? I mean, I love, and I get to be a contributor and I love, I've met people through that network and it's been
Yeah.
amazing to be a part of it and to see it, really start from the ground up and flourish. So how did that
Yeah.
start?
Well, so building a personal brand is fun and the work, it's so much fun to like create content and all the stuff. And I was like, okay, I was sitting in a meditation. I was like, how do I create bigger impact that it's bigger than just myself? And I was seeing so many different experts from healers, nutritionists, acupuncturists, just anybody who's in the wellness field, because I feel like you do it as a team, right? When you go on this journey, we meet so many different people along our journey that help us and get us like, I can't think just one person on my journey because there are so many different teachers that have helped me get me where I am today. So it's like, how do we create a platform that can actually give these people a voice and kind of cultivate this community and support each other? So I think it's always constantly pivoting. Right now, it's a contributor space where people can contribute articles, and we went into production for our first series, which we filmed, and then will come out during this time. And it's a wellness roundtable series. And I always envisioned, when we're having conversations, why aren't there more different perspectives? So then it's a richer conversation, and people might come from different parts of the world, and like it's just like it's more valuable. And I was like, wow, this could be really powerful for talking about men's health, women's health, LGBTQ rights, and so many different spaces that I feel have been left out in the wellness conversation, that I was like, you know what, I got to take a stand. Like, I am a minority, and I was like, I don't see a lot of representation. And I was like, I want to create more spaces where there are more representation for everyone and everyone benefits. Because I feel like if anything, people of different diversity and different backgrounds also need it even more because they're dealing with different layers of things that they're trying to process.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's so poignant. And especially now as, we are in this wacky time, there, it is a lot about community. I think,
Mm-hmm.
I've reached out to people. People have reached out to me that I haven't spoken with in quite some time. So that community aspect of things, and especially in the wellness space, and what you said about you're not doing this alone and you shouldn't be doing this alone. There are different avenues. It's not just like just that one person was, my North Star. It was like, no, it's, they may have been your North Star, but then there were other people underneath them and exposed you to different healing modalities and things like that. I mean, that's how you and I met as well, is like
Yeah.
through that avenue. And so
Yeah.
I think it just opens that up. And I do love that you have that diversity lens, because I think that that's super important. It's not just a one size fits all approach. It's like, hey, look at me. I'm, an Asian male, LGBTQ. I mean, it's like, that is not really seen. So I love that you're really, emphasizing that. So you're going out for walks and you're doing, some movement and things like that. What about food? How are you, dealing with the food aspect during this time? Like, how are you, because grocery shopping is a pain in the ass right now.
It is. I heard the farmers market is open, so I'm gonna try for the farmers market because Santa Monica has a really good farmers market.
It's the
Uh,
best in LA for sure.
yeah, so I'm gonna check it out to see if it's actually open because I've been seeing my friends post about going to the farmers market. I'm like, what? Like it's open? Because if it is open, I want to go support those farmers. Um, it's hit or miss, honestly. Like some days are better than others. I definitely went through my phase of like binging on like snacks because like you'll hoard, like we'll go to the grocery store and just hoard on all these snacks, like, oh, we need all the snacks, and then I usually never have all these snacks in my pantry. So then like
Literally
the
ever.
fact that it's in there, I'm just like, oh, and you start binge eating. But going back to what you were saying, it made me more mindful because I did a fast yesterday. I was like, you know what, just take a moment. You don't need to be eating. Like, let me be more productive. Let me get in tune with my body. So I actually like highly recommend, if you're going to do a liquid or just do a fast, like for one day, just to get in tune with like, what the hell am I feeling right now? What
Mhm.
do I need to process? Instead of like, because it's so easy, like going back to what you're saying, like we're stressed out, something's not going right, grab that thing, you know? So in my book right now, I'm writing a part about dopamine reset. Like we're in this quick fixed mentality society right now. Everything is swipe left, swipe right. We want it right now. Uber Eats, like get it to my door. Like I don't want to leave. Amazon Prime. And I think it's important to take like a digital detox as well. Like this is great, but also like there's a lot of noise. And I realized the first 2 weeks that this was going on, I was like, I need to tune in, because there's a lot of people just, they're not even tuned in, and they're just like going on social media and just bombarding with like whatever their thoughts, because they don't know how to process, or they don't know how to you know come up with like what's actually going on. So I think it's important to take time to do a fast, do some sort of like, ritual where you get back to yourself. And that's the phase that I'm in now. I went through like my binge eating, not feeling good. And then I sit with it. I don't feel good about this. It's creating more shame. This is not, you know, affecting me or increasing my health right now. So I was like, you know what, let's be mindful of what I'm putting in my body right now. I really want to come out of this stronger and more fit. So I use it as a challenge. Like I'm going to go on a challenge to go for walks like outside twice a day, and just start building some sort of routine. And yeah, so that's kind of been how I've been processing and navigating.
I love it. And, just to piggyback on what you just said, the word routine has come up literally in every single conversation I've had, regardless of, if you're a chef and wellness entrepreneur, if you're an acupuncturist, if you're a personal trainer, whatever, the conversations that I've been having have literally centered around routine. And I think it is so important to have some sort of a routine. And it's not, for me, it's hard. I'm at my mom's. I'm not even in my own space. And so my routine has definitely ebbed and flowed, and I've had to figure out like what actually works for me. And now at this point, I've actually been at my mom's longer than I've been in my new apartment in LA. I was only there for 3.5 weeks, and now I've been here for over a month. So it's interesting, like for me, this whole year has been about figuring out a routine, and it's been a very short-lived thing. So, I think the point that I'm trying to make in a long-winded way is that, you're not just going to wake up and have this like routine. And what you were saying is also true. It's like, okay, I have to, like, the first 2 weeks I did this and that was my routine. And now I need to, it's sort of a phased approach.
Yeah.
So I think that that's super important to, really emphasize that that's what you're doing as well. Is it's not just like, okay, like it's not business as usual. It's not
Yeah.
gotten up and gone to yoga at 9:15 every morning, and
Yeah.
I'm not, and I miss
Like
it.
my sleep patterns have definitely shifted, because, and that's what I think the routine is really helpful, is to schedule things. Like I'll write out in my journal, like this time you're going to go for a walk, this time you're going to work on creating or writing. And when I didn't have that, I would just be like, just sleep until I wake up. And then my whole day would just be like, what am I doing? So then if I schedule things, at least I have things to look forward to, whether
Yeah,
it's calls with friends, doing yoga virtually or whatever,
yeah,
breath work or whatever. But I think it's important to create some sort of ritual for yourself.
could not agree with you more. So, what are some tips that you would give to others that are maybe struggling, maybe aren't necessarily, they're kind of like, I don't even know myself, if they were to even just get empty and have that sort of scarcity or the, sort of clearing of space, like what are some things that you would, what guidance would you provide?
So I think the number one thing during this time or any time is acceptance of what is right in front of you. I think oftentimes when we don't want to deal with things, when we're reaching for things and things that are outside of ourselves to try to numb or try to self-medicate, it's us not wanting to look at what is in front of us. We're denying and we're resisting. So it's almost like a form of self-sabotage. So I would say focus on less resistance and acceptance of the now and the present, and go from here. Just like, okay, because the more resistance you create in something, the more power you give it. So then once you accept it and you're like, okay, I accept this current reality, it's not going to be forever. What can I do now? And then from there, like a self-loving, I always say like there's always a higher version of ourselves. That's like our higher self that like we might not be living right now, but then there's like a, my ideal version of myself that is loving towards myself and is not self-sabotaging would do this, and just start scheduling it. And I think it helps to have an accountability partner. And I think it's important to process what you're feeling, because most of the times we're running away from the emotions. I think this is a great opportunity to really get in tune with, what am I feeling? What's really important to me? Family, friends, work, career, what do I want to put out into the world? But before you even get into career, you gotta like get in on yourself and like tune in. So I've been like weeding out all the noise, because there's a lot of fear going on, and getting rid of resistance and just surrendering. Like, okay, what can I learn from this situation? What can I do today? So baby steps.
I love that. And so I have always seen the acronym for fear as false evidence appearing real. I just saw a new one that was face everything and rise. And I was like, I love that, because it's a lot more positive spin on it. And it's like, it's true. And there is a lot of fear, and like the fear of looking bad, and like, oh my God, what if I put something out in social media and I look like an idiot? Okay, so what? Like,
Yeah.
big deal. Like, you're not going to die. It's all good. Just, take that baby step. Like you said, it's small action.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Anything else that you want to impart? Any words of wisdom?
Anything else? It's just been so refreshing to be able to talk to you. And like, I think just scheduling time to, on my list of things to do is like check in on other people. Because, sometimes when we get too caught up, if you're too caught up in your own world, it's so, like help someone else. That will get you out, and then it'll put you in the space of service. It's like, wow, I am valuable. What can I do to help someone else?
Yeah.
And in someone else's day. So, yeah.
That's a good one, because I'm an introvert, which a lot of people don't realize. I'm definitely more introverted than I am extroverted. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, which, it's like I charge by being alone, and I work from home all the time. And so, for me, it's like, all right, whatever. And it's like, oh, right, I need to check on my extroverted friends who are like dying, especially those in New York that are like, oh my God, we're like, I'm so glad we don't live in New York. I
Me
can't.
too.
I loved living here.
Blessings to people in New
Yeah.
York.
But I think that that's so important, is check in on others, because we all have things to help, we all have tools and things that we can use to help other people. So I think that that's super important. Well, this has been amazing. I can talk to you forever. And
Yes.
I know sometimes we often do. Where can people find you? Instagram, website, all the other,
Yeah, you can find me at Charles Chen TV, and you can find me everywhere. And then you'll get links to Zeal. And I can't wait to see your next article.
Oh my God, I know, which I'm so delinquent on. You guys, I've been telling Charles I'm going to write an article about the 5-point acupuncture system on the ear for, I don't know, it's been like months. And I have.
But one thing I want to ask you is like, something that I've been pivoting for Zeal is I'm thinking about what will be more valuable for these contributors. What if we give each other skill sets and things, and teach each other? Like if someone's starting a podcast or a web series or whatever, maybe we give tools to these experts so then they can better share their message.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Coming soon.
Yeah, and I still owe you an article too.
Yeah.
Time management is, but anyway, I will include all of, where you can find Charles in the comments. If you have any questions, leave them below. We will answer. Definitely follow Charles. He is amazing, has so many good tips and recipes, and he knows a million people who I've met too. Like, and it's been amazing to get to know you through this as well. So thank you so much for your time, and
Thank you,
happy
Sana.
quarantining, and I will see you guys soon.
Bye.